Hold on, technical difficulties. There we go. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. And yes, folks, we are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, and we are almost back on schedule today. Now, folks, before we go ahead and get into it, we are going to have a few of the usual disclaimers. All right, now, first off, you are going to see the link to this report right there in the description box, alongside the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, the templates, you know the drill, sign your name, click on your senator, and the ever-present and self-explanatory change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. Now, folks, when we talk about the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of peoples with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones, all right? Now, it is 4:57 in the afternoon. It's been a real interesting day. So if I stumble over any of my words, my apologies in advance. Now, a quick little rant. My first call this morning was an older gentleman, I use that term extremely loosely, who decided that speaking with a sales rep was a perfect time to go on a racist rant about Chinese people and Chinese products. Now, I don't care who you are. Who the hell do you think you are? And what in God's name do you think it is appropriate to be speaking to a call center agent and making racist comments like that? Really? Really? I am not the kind of person who takes too kindly to that. And yeah, thankfully I did have to transfer him. But when you are speaking with a sales agent, think about the shit you say. It's rare for me to find a day where I can find a new level of disgusted with being some individuals on the phone. And today, it just took it to a whole new level. All right, now we're going to get to the report here where we left off yesterday. Staff routine. Time for the calming tea. The treatment staff work a variety of scheduled shifts. Treatment staff who work at home in the morning accompany the children to school for the part of the day. Oh, yay. So the same people who torture me at night get to be a part of my day. Fan-fucking-tastic. Some staff begin to work in the afternoon at the school and return to the group homes to implement the evening programs there. Some staff have a rotating schedule to provide weekend coverage. Some professional staff work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., only Monday through Friday. Other professional staff, such as teachers, share weekend duty. At night, there is only one staff person awake and on duty. Okay, if you got multiple people in a home, and you really have one staff, really? Just saying. These kids are so out of control. Wouldn't you think you have more than one person there on duty overnight? A second employee is asleep and on call. Staff time was rigidly structured and tightly planned. The amount of continuous effort expected of and received from the staff was remarkably high. Staff interacted continuously with the students, constantly administering primary rewards, praise, or adversives. Oh, yes, I love being patted on the head and called a fucking good girl for, doing menial tasks. This is something that all people with disabilities in school, out school, or JRC or otherwise have to deal with. The freaking praise as though you're speaking to a fucking 5-year-old. It is one of the most condescending and demeaning bunch of so-called well-meaning bullshit on the planet, folks. If you're going to praise me for something, praise me for something that goes above and beyond the standard. I do not need to have myself be applauded for going to a goddamn grocery store and getting my groceries, okay? I do not need to be applauded for working a full time job and being able to get my own housing, okay? What the actual fuck? It is the most condescending thing. And if people's like, but they're applauding your accomplishments, you're applauding me for things that everybody does. And by applauding it, you make it seem as though you don't expect someone with a disability to be able to do these things. Do you see where the condescension and the ableism is there? Just kind of watch it, okay? Because it's demeaning as fuck. But moving on. God forbid they have 5 minutes away from their aversive psychotic bullshit. Staff members receive a 1/2 hour lunch break during the day, which is their total relaxation time. Oh, at least they get 30 minutes. The students don't get shit. They have to perform even during mealtime. God, I hate people. When asked about other breaks in the routine, one staff member stated that she considered the time she spent working with individual children, as opposed to working with groups of children, to be break time. Major disruptive behaviors and use of adversive consequences were observed to include more and more frequently as the day progressed. Mid-mornings appeared the most orderly, late afternoons the least. Gee, I fucking wonder why. Let's think about this here. When you have kids performing menial, meaningless fucking tasks all day, 8 fucking hours a goddamn day, and basically have them performing as though they are a circus monkey, without break, without recess, without any time for leisure or any time to blow off steam. And then you really fucking wonder when all of a sudden behaviors manifest? The whole reason behind recess was that kids would be able to blow off some steam and some energy so that they would then be able to get themselves refocused and be able to concentrate on their schoolwork. These kids don't even get that. And you're wondering why behaviors increased? It's pure frustration. For one thing, you're having them perform dull, meaningless tasks that have no bearing in the real world whatsoever without a break. They start at 8 a.m. and go to 9:30 p.m. at night. No breaks, no leisure time, no nothing. Even their goddamn meals, they have to perform little fucking tasks just to be able to have the right to have each bite of food. No breaks, no nothing. And you're surprised when they act up? Any child would. Let me clarify this for you. Whether the child is disabled or not, if this was how they were treated day in and day out, no breaks, no weekend, no summers, no nothing, any child, regardless of if they are disabled or not, would act out. Come on now. Why do we expect so much more from disabled kids than regular kids? This has been a beef of mine for fucking years. You never let disabled kids fucking stop. We don't get breaks. And if we are not performing these little tasks all the time with no breaks and no complaints, well, then we're problems. Y'all need to think about how you treat people with disabilities, especially when we're kids. Moving on. Treatment program. As stated in the November report, the fundamental premise of the treatment program is that the insights, perspectives, and approaches derived from behavioral psychology, with particular emphasis on operant conditioning and experimental analysis of behavior, are more effective as tools for understanding for changing human behavior. Maybe, maybe. And on a regular mental health basis, I might agree with you. But you're dealing with kids with developmental disabilities. Again, you cannot apply behavioral psychology when the behaviors are not willful or learned. They are coming from the child's own neurology. You can use all the behavioral psychology that you want to. You can even do the horrific things that they do to these kids at this school. But you're not going to change how our brain is wired. You're not going to change our neurology to make us more normal, to make you people more comfortable around us by this stupid idea that you can condition us into behaving the way you want us to behave. It's garbage and you all know it. It is based on a false premise. These are not learned behaviors. These are not willful behaviors. They all of them stem from our neurology. And where maybe we can learn to curb some of our instincts a little bit and we can, look after ourselves to a certain extent to make us more acceptable to you fucking people, it's always there. You can't. I'm just saying. You, when it comes to changing human behavior, and you're dealing with a neurodevelopmental disability, you're not dealing with willful behavior or even learned behavior. This premise does not work. What does work, and what I have seen used in person-centered planning in numerous cases, more cases that I care to count, remember I've worked in the field, is reasonable accommodations. Gee, what a thought, right? So those sensory issues that might provoke behaviors. Provide reasonable accommodations. Guess what happens to those behaviors? Reasonable accommodations, proper monitored medication, and for the love of God, showing some fucking empathy and compassion, as opposed to trying to make us into what you want us to be. It goes an incredible way. We have had more success out here using person-centered planning, finding reasonable accommodations to assist in things that a student or an adult consumer would have problems with than with ABA or any of the shit that they do here. It doesn't take away the urge to melt down, I'll tell you that right now. But I have noticed in my life and the lives of others that it does bring the number of them down significantly and makes them less likely to occur. Okay, moving on. The BRI seeks to create an institutional and treatment environment that is thoroughly and consistently behavioral as possible, which is why it will never work. As long as your mind is on the behavior, as long as your mind is on the reaction instead of on what is causing the reaction, you're missing the fucking point and you will never, ever get it right. Let me say that again. As long as you are focused on the behavior, and you are not willing to focus on that which is causing the behavior, you're part of the problem, not the solution. You want us to adapt? Provide us with the tools to adapt. Just saying. And when you people, by the fucking way, I've had people say, but using headphones, it's just a crutch. You should learn to deal with the pain. Really? You try that shit. You be me inside my head and hear those noises that cause me incredible physical fucking pain, and then you deal with it for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Denying kids reasonable accommodations to make them more normal is fucking sick. I'm just going to say it. Fundamental to the total program is a system of primary foods, rewards, food, and liquid. Look at that. Food and liquid. How monstrous of a fucking human being are you to think to use a person's right to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and be able to drink water and drink other liquids as rewards? It's sick. For the performance of designated tasks, again, gotta perform like a fucking circus seal, and a system of aversive treatment for demonstration of identified inappropriate behaviors. I'll say it again. These so-called inappropriate behaviors come from their neurology. They are literally punishing the child for having issues with their disability, and that behavior comes out. Think about that. Do they do anything to try to figure out what's causing the behavior? No, we just punish it immediately. This is why it can never work. All right, on that note, folks, I'm going to go ahead and close out for this evening. We don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject. And the few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this evening. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.